Hey guys, it's Appleminte. Welcome back again to my channel, and happy Friday. If you're like me, you're probably pretty excited that it's finally the weekend. I'm just ready to do nothing and play video games this weekend. But anyway, for today's video, I wanted to show my process and talk about my process for a new digital piece that I worked on this week. Before I get into that though, I'd like to thank today's video sponsor, Labyrinth, a new fast-moving MMORPG. The game features a variety of systems, including jobs, gear, cards, and skills, which all can be used to upgrade your hero. You can battle against cute and scary monsters in the field with friends, explore dungeons, and conquer large boss raids. Playing with friends is fun and easy. By calling them in, you can fight together against unique monsters and bosses, as well as fight in player versus player combat. The game also has adorable costumes and gear for your characters, which is always one of my favorite things in a game. The game just launched on March 23rd, and you can use the coupon code LabyrinthG with a capital L and G to get a costume box and 100,000 currency in-game. The code is case sensitive, so please be sure to use the capital and lowercase letters properly. So thank you again to Labyrinth for sponsoring today's video. So anyway, like I said, I am making a new digital piece, as you can see on screen. And I'm doing this because lately I've been spending a lot of 2021 really trying to push myself and do some new digital projects in general, better my skills, all that. And I've talked about this in some previous videos. But you'll notice that on my channel I've been doing a lot more digital art. And that's not to say that I'm doing, less traditional art now. It's just that I figure that if I'm going to be doing the digital art in my free time or just utilizing my time doing that I might as well show you some of my process because it's art as well. So, and also it's a learning experience for me. And so I figured that showing my process and talking a bit about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it might be helpful or interesting to you guys. And if it's not, I'm sorry. But I really enjoy doing this, so I hope you enjoy it just as much. Anyway, my idea for this painting, and I'm going to call it a painting because it's a digital painting, but my idea for this painting is I wanted to have a girl with a flower basket. That was my starting point, and I didn't know where I wanted to go from that, but I figured that I would just get a sense for it as I went on. And you might have seen a little earlier that I did a little background sketch, and she was on a path with some bushes next to her. But I ended up changing it and making it into a lavender field because I figured that that might make for a nice color theme, a nice main color that I can take and focus on in the painting and really bring it out about throughout the whole painting. Because I was trying to figure out what kind of flowers to put in her basket, and I thought lavender might be pretty, and then from that I figured, well, I could take that and I could make a lavender field that might be more interesting to look at and might make for a much more serene painting rather than just, her standing next to some bushes on a path. I think that I really wanted to practice painting something different. I personally am not very good at backgrounds, and you'll probably notice that in most of my videos I don't do a background of any sorts because I just mostly focus on character design and characters in general. But not really what's behind them or the environment that they're in. But recently I've been really trying to practice my lighting, and one drawing that I did that in was one that I did on my channel a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a month ago now, I don't remember, but where I was making my character Rin sitting in front of the TV, and I did some lighting from both in front of her and behind her with the TV and the lamp. But for this one I wanted to practice lighting that's coming from straight behind her. So I figured that with the purples, it might look really nice to have a sunset theme. And so I wanted to create the sun peeking over the mountains. I actually found a reference for the background that I'm basing this background off of. It was just a picture of a lavender field with, some hills and the sun and clouds. But I found that this might be a really great opportunity to practice lighting from behind because it's lighting that I don't usually ever do. Because most of my lighting in almost all of my drawings is the same thing basically. My light source is always coming from the top left or the top right, and that's it. And I want to try something different because, like I said, this is about learning, this is about pushing myself to do different things. So I was looking up some references on how lighting from behind would look, and another thing that I don't normally do is play with shadows as much. Because I don't play with different kinds of lighting, I don't really get the opportunity to play with different kinds of shadows. So with the lighting coming from directly behind her, it creates a large shadow on most of her, which is something that is always scary for me to do, because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna darken all these colors, everything's gonna change so much. But I actually think that it makes for a more interesting piece. So I think that's just part of pushing yourself, is stepping out of your comfort zone and trying things that you wouldn't normally do or would normally seem scary or like it's gonna ruin the piece. But that's why I really wanted to do this, was I really just wanted to try something different. And even if it didn't look great or I wasn't great at it, I could keep practicing. So here you see me painting the lavender field, and I have this Flora pack of brushes that I got on, I forgot what website, I think Gumroad. I found a whole pack of brushes and I paid, I don't know, a few dollars for it. But I found this one brush that almost looked like what each lavender stalk or each lavender flower looks like. And so I was kind of able to keep building on itself constantly to kind of add more and more layers and shadows and highlights. And I was very unhappy with this lavender field for almost the entire time. By the end of the painting, I will get it somewhere that I'm okay with, but it was really difficult to do. And I think one of the main issues I had with this whole piece was that my background looked very painty and very brush strokey, but then my character is cell shaded and much less painty. She's much more, you know, she's got very crisp line art rather than painty brush strokes. So I think that was one issue that I had with it, and it was kind of making the character look natural, like she fits into this piece rather than just kind of be copy and pasted in there into a background she doesn't fit into. So you'll see me playing with this lavender field a whole ton, because I kept adding and adding and adding and changing until I got somewhere that I felt a bit happier with. And I think I realized that I still don't know what my painting style is in terms of backgrounds and things that aren't people, but I want to keep improving that and learning how to get better at that. You know, not just taking a Flora brush and making some flowers, but maybe trying to add in some harder details inside of that with some other kinds of brushes, some harder line brush strokes and things like that. And here you'll see I'm adding some painty brush strokes with a different brush that I found. I thought that would help, and then I realized, wait, it looks like she's just kind of thrown onto a painting. It doesn't look like it matches at all here. So I ended up removing those little pink squared brush strokes that I added onto the lavender and doing something different. And in the end, I was able to get an effect that I really liked, and I think it looked good, but it's not 100% for me, but you know, it's all part of the learning experience, honestly. And I definitely want to take some online courses or look at some tutorials, you know, self-teach myself how to do some of these things a little bit better, backgrounds and things like that. And I mean, I hope listening to my ramblings about all of this is interesting to you in any sense. A lot of people write to me on, you know, Instagram or on my YouTube comments or wherever, and they're always asking me, you know, how do I know how to draw so well? That's to quote them, not me. That's not my words. But I always say that it's about learning and practicing, because it doesn't just happen. I'm always unhappy with my artwork. Even though lots of people tell me they love it, I'm always seeing the flaws. But I think that's normal for artists in general. We always look at our art and we compare it to other people rather than the old art we used to create. And I think that's why a lot of us are so critical of ourselves, because we look at where we want to be rather than where we came from with our style. But overall, I think that it's important to understand that even if you think an artist's work is really amazing, they're still learning and improving themselves, like very likely, and that's where I am. I always want to get better, and I'm always looking for feedback and just ways to improve. But this drawing as a whole was a lot of fun to do. I loved playing with the lighting and making a really serene setting for her, and just really creating a nice environment for this piece. So I really hope you enjoyed watching my process and listening to it. And I call this piece Lavender, very fitting, I know. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. All of my links are in the description box below, as always. The link to my online store, my Instagram page, and my Patreon pin club, as well as my Discord server. So check those out if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you guys all next Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye-bye.